What's going on there? How you doing? How you doing, everybody? Oh, I'm not showing up. There I am, over in the corner. Let me fix this. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and we got a nice little show for you today. And so I'm anxious to be here. I mean, every time we start this thing, I always say, "We'll get the butterflies out," but we're gonna wait for some folks to come in. And while we're waiting for more people to come in, I just want to go back and play one of my songs because I like this one. Uh, just kind of extolling the virtues of all the masculine men out there. Because one of my shows we were talking about masculine men, and I want to play the other one that's a little upbeat in terms of the ballad that we came up with. And here goes.
In the heart of a storm, men stand so tall, with rugged hands and a will to never fall. Through the trials and the fire, they carve their way. Silent warriors, no extra words to say. Not just in the battles they bravely face, but in the love that treads time and space. To the masculine men, strong and true, with a spirit like the skies of blue. In every heartbeat, in every breath they take, it's to the strength and the lives they make. Laughter like the sun, and whispers like the breeze. They carry the burdens, they put us at ease. From your shadows we rise, we learn to believe. When a woman's world is full of chaos, men provide the order they need. Compassion and courage, a delicate blend in a world needing strength. They set the trade. Until the masculine man, strong and true, with a spirit like that, strong and true, with a spirit like none in the skies of blue. In every heartbeat, in every breath they take, I see the strength and the life they make. So here's to the men who hold their ground in the symphony of life. They stand 10 toes down.
Hey, yep, that's not BMU. That was me, of course. So you're at the right place at the right time. So we're going to talk about, welcome everything. Hey, Katelia, how you doing? I appreciate you being here nice and early. And I figure we're going to have more people show up as we go, like we always do. I know 7 o'clock is kind of early for people, like if you're on the West Coast or you're in Central and all that kind of stuff. But hey, listen, the show must go on, and I got to just play the slot that I've been given. Anyway, so you see the title, Liberal Black Folks. We need to stop being useful idiots for the Democrat puppet makers, whoever they may be. And that doesn't say that there's not some good folks out there on the Democrat side, but it's hard. We'd be hard pressed to say a lot of black folks aren't being used to continue keep everybody in some kind of homogeneous voting pattern where we're all homogenous or whatever voting pattern where we're all giving our votes to one party and we're being disrespected because of it, taken for granted, and all those kind of things, and we're not really fully participating in the American system by giving our votes to one party. Because even though two-party system sucks, if we're not fully even participating in a two-party system, that's not good for us. One party takes us for granted. The other party was able to ignore us. Now, this last election, that changed that. We see the change. And it still has to play out. But I think we'll be better off stepping off the plantation than staying on it, right? Because, again, I'm going to say this again later on. When slavery was over, there were slaves who wanted to stay on the plantation because it was comfortable. It was the only life they knew. They were afraid of making their own way off the plantation. You know, they were just used to master telling them what to do. And I think we have a mental situation that's analogous to that, you know, we even have Black folks thinking that the only way we achieve is if they give us DEI or affirmative action, and we can't get ahead without them giving us the crumbs that falls off the table. I'm here to tell you that's goddamn bullshit. It's bullshit. And I got Tim Scott coming up later on to tell you that he thinks it's bullshit. And no matter what you think about Tim Scott, he goes on The View and he blows these cackling hens away, right? So if you never respected him before, when he was on The View, he put them all in their place just by telling them to shut up and listen. And it was hard for them to do that. And but he got through. But one of the things I think I'm going to do before we really get deep down into this whole thing, I want to give you a little bit of I used to ask myself, you know, why some votes in the Senate needs 60 votes, and some can get over with a simple majority. What's the difference? How do we get that difference? And when it's a vote, is a vote, is a vote, which is not really true. I knew there were some distinctions, so I had to find something to really put that and crystallize the circumstances on how we vote. Now that's important because the end of this week, on the 14th, on Friday, 11:59. If there's not an agreement for this continuing resolution, the government will shut down. The government will shut down. And it'll be good for all of us to have the ammunition that we understand why. And so I'm going to play this little clip. And the truth of the matter is, and I'll get back to this, because there's no incentive for the Democrats to negotiate with the Republicans, especially with all this Republican momentum. The Democrats they don't have to do nothing. If the Republicans don't bend the knee, the government will shut down on Friday night. So I want to show you guys something that I thought was beneficial to see and look at, and I think it'll be beneficial for y'all. Some of you already know this, and some of you don't. But take a good look at it. Just a little short little clip. I found out how the Senate works. And I think this would be just good to show before we get into it, so we know we're all on the same page. I just got to find it. It's in there somewhere. I have to do it. All right, that's all right. Hell with that. I'm doing it this way.
$60 votes in the Senate? Have you ever wondered why some bills in the U.S. Senate seemed to get stuck, even if a majority of senators support them? The answer lies in a procedural tool called the filibuster, and it's all about the number 60. In the Senate, most bills require a simple majority to pass once the debate is over, but getting to that point is where things get complicated. To end debate and move to a vote, the Senate needs to invoke something called cloture. Cloture requires 60 votes out of the 100 senators to be successful, 235. Here's how it works. When a bill is up for consideration, the Senate Majority Leader might ask for unanimous consent to end the debate and move to a vote. However, any senator can object by simply saying, "I object." If there's an objection, the only way to proceed is by filing a cloture motion, which needs those 60 votes. If the cloture motion fails to get 60 votes, the bill is effectively filibustered and cannot move forward. Even if a bill has the support of a simple majority, it can still be blocked by a minority of 41 senators who oppose ending the debate. There are some exceptions, though. For example, nominations for judges, cabinet members, and other positions can now be confirmed with just a simple majority after changes made in 2013 and 2017. Additionally, bills related to budget reconciliation, like the Affordable Care Act or the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, can also avoid the 60-vote hurdle tool. So, to summarize, most bills in the Senate need 60 votes to invoke cloture and end debate before they can be voted on. This high threshold is what makes the filibuster such a powerful tool in the Senate.
All right, how you guys doing? So we're back. We're back. I had some stuff in the background, so I had to get rid of that. But anyway, listen. So I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of what's going on in the Senate and what's going to be going on this Friday. And I tell you, I don't think anybody should have high confidence that they're going to come to some agreement by Friday night. It'd be a miracle because there's no incentive for the Democrats to actually move for this continuing resolution unless the Republicans bend the knee. And one of the things that's going to be a sticking point is that they want to put some clauses in the contract this Friday that says that takes away some of the executive powers. So they want to change the executive powers of the presidency in order for them to continue. And there's just no way that any president, not just much less Trump, will agree with any of that. So that's what we're going to see on Friday. So anybody out there, I would expect you to see a perturbation in the market all week. I mean, it's not going to stop. We're already down like maybe 11% from the highs. And so you guys get with your investment advisors and find out what to do. If you're a long-term investor, I wouldn't panic. If you're a shorter term, you might have to do some look-sees. But go talk to the people you take advice from, because that's what's going to happen. This week is going to be completely crazy. And then if they close down the government, you might see some more. We might be headed to a 20%, maybe 25% deal. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing it out there as the worst case. Anybody else could talk about it, but it's going to be choppy. It's going to be choppy all week long. Yeah, I mean, and those of you who have dry powder, and some money on the side, some cash on the side, there's going to be investment opportunities. That's why I'm telling you that there'll be a way back. You're just going to have time to take advantage of it. So getting back to the point of this whole thing, and the reason why we're here, and I think one of the things that I want to do for you guys is take you back on my thinking on when I had the revelation that we had to get off the plantation. Back in 2003, when I first kind of started my YouTube channel, I think it was November 2022, one of the things I thought about is that, golly, man, what's the one thing that we all do as Blacks that is keeping us in the position that we're in? Maybe not the only thing, but there's got to be a common denominator why we're all fucked up all across the whole country, especially in blue cities. And when, even though we have a class divide of some people making it, and then some people can't even get out of their own way. And then this just dawned on me because we all voted for the same goddamn party. You know, we don't have any diversity in thought in general overall, and I think we give away some of our power at the local and the definitely on a federal level because we've been conditioned to be the the butt boys of the Democratic Party and girls of the Democratic Party. So somewhere in the uh, 2023, because listen, let me tell you, I voted for Hillary Clinton. I didn't like her, but I was still thinking, hey, how could I vote for MAGA, Trump and all that kind of shit. And then when he became president, I saw my portfolio pretty, I saw the way we live as a black family. I didn't see no tiki torches. Over the 4 years he was president, up to the pandemic, the stock market and the NASDAQ went up 75.8%. The world didn't come to an end with some of his tariffs. We had the First Step Act. Whatever he did with the HBCUs, it might have been exaggerated by some, but he did something. And then the other thing was that a lot of black people we take as leaders today were his buddies before he ran for president. Did you know that he used to support Al Sharpton? He paid money into some of Al Sharpton's networks. I think he even helped funded Al Sharpton when Al Sharpton tried to run for president. You know what I'm saying? So, all of a sudden when he ran, he had the Apprentice show. You had him with Oprah. He had all that stuff with him with Jesse Jackson. And then all of a sudden when he ran for president, all of a sudden he was just a devout racist. I mean, he's just a proud white man, which is something that he was always, it was crazy. So yes, right. He funded Jesse Jackson's run. Hey, Amanize, how you doing? So all I'm just trying to say is, it's there's some kind of thing going on where we can't ignore that our, I guess, homogeneous votes for one party isn't affecting the way we live and the way we think. And all the black people that's on TV, they're fucking bleeding heart liberals. And any conservative gets on TV, he gets vilified, not by the white people, but by black people. If he could articulate a verb, he gets vilified. Matter of fact, Jasmine Crockett is formally educated from kindergarten all the way to her jurisprudence degree. They must have spent almost $500,000 to get this woman to where she's at in terms of education. And all she does is talk like a ghetto chick on TV. It's all a farce. It's all bullshit. It really is. And that's all to kind of say, okay, the only way we could reach black people is to talk down to them like they're in the ghetto. So this is what it's crude, of course. And maybe, I never really thought I was going to be some kind of great ass YouTuber. But anyway, this is what I did back in, I think it's February 2023, when the first time I thought about divesting from the Democratic Party. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today, we're going to talk a little politics. I really believe that black people need to begin to divest ourselves from the Democratic Party. So I wrote a piece that I'll probably put in the comment section, a link to the piece. It's a one-pager that I like to write. And the title of this one-pager is A Case for Black Independence from Any Political Party. So I'm not an advocate for the Republicans at all. But let me just tell you what I'm thinking. Fear is false evidence appearing real. That's a good acronym for fear. And one of the things about black people is I think we vote Democratic because we've been conditioned to think that they have our best interests in mind. And it's not necessarily the case, because a lot of the people who lead the Democratic Party are in the same clubs as the Republicans. So anyway, we're going to talk about fear some more in this piece.
So, but let me just continue. For far too long, Black Americans have been tied to the Democratic Party. The question is why? Why are we doing that? What have they done for us, really, to warrant such devotion and loyalty? Have they championed some kind of meritocracy where Black people can thrive based on our efforts? Or have they been champions of victimization culture that traps Blacks into, just kind of traps Black people, especially our minds, into believing that forces of oppression are keeping us from fulfilling our potential? Do they champion economic empowerment for Black Americans or government handouts, especially those policies that promote broken families? The ones that Black women have chosen to take Section 8 money as long as they don't have a man in the house. Those kind of policies still exist in one shape, form, or fashion. Do Black Americans follow Democrats because of liberalism, extreme anything goes? Even though a great deal of our elders were conservative. What has changed? What has made us so weak and so devoted to these people? So many Black Americans are not aware that the Southern Democrats were the majority of slavers. Those weren't Republicans. They were mostly Democrats. Nor do they know that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He was no friend or lover of Black people, but however, he knew the Republic, America, could not stand if slavery were allowed to exist into the future. So he knew there was something more important than just having white people beat the shit out of Blacks for hundreds and hundreds of more years. So his compromise was and continues to be the flaw in the 13th Amendment, because the 13th Amendment allows the power structure to enslave Blacks under the guise of making them prisoners. For whatever reason, there's a loophole in that law that needs to be closed. And the Democrats are no champion of making an amendment to close that loophole. So the loophole actually promotes having Blacks as chattel slavery for private prisons and those kind of things. So it's a big hole in a constitution, and we don't talk.
So let me stop you. So you get my point. This is the beginning of me. This was in 2023. This is the beginning of me saying, you know what? It's just time to get off this plantation. We are the beast of burdens for everybody else. I mean, if you think about it, right? I got those squares up there, red, yellow, black, and white. Yeah, I was thinking about the song, red and yellow, black and white, right? But the truth of the matter is every minority group, every so-called special interest group, every fucking group got to what they got on the backs of Black people. We carry the world for everything. I should have the rainbow one up there, right? Because they're the biggest parasites on the top of us now, right? Everything, when anytime you talk about anything for Black rights, here you go with some kind of alphabet bullshit riding along with it, right? So we are sitting down here with our ultra-liberalism. They put a Black woman with a bullhorn up there, and therefore every liberal piece of shit that's going on, right? So in the end, we don't even get what we were supposed to. Affirmative action, okay, shit, that got hijacked by white women. DEI, I don't think DEI ever was meant for Black people, but yet guys like Al Sharpton, Jasmine Crockett, and every other Black person on the liberal side says, without this shit, we can't survive. It's a fucking lie. It's a lie. Tim Scott's going to blow the view away with this very point later on. So aren't we tired of it? I mean, I'm just saying, aren't we kind of tired of sitting down here, everybody telling us we're less than, especially from the party that we support? You're less than. You need us. Without us, they're going to get you. Oh my God. You need to have DEI. You need to have Section 8. You need to be this. You wouldn't have the job you have. We even had an anchor, and she lost her job recently, who came out and said she would not have been on TV if it wasn't for affirmative action. 2 months before the Supreme Court, came down and struck down affirmative action, not for white people, by the way, but for Asians who really brought the suit against it. She would have never said that 2 months before that ruling. But in order to prove her point, she says the only reason why I'm on TV is because of affirmative action. It was so disingenuous of a statement that, that's what I begin to say, you know what? They'll say anything to propel the same old bullshit. But anyway, so I was just saying at some point, where's my, gosh, man, my daggone, my damn mic went out, which is a pain in the ass. So I hate to do that to you guys, but I'm still here. Y'all can still hear me, right? Somebody put a 1 in the chat because my, I don't know why the screen is frozen. I'm going to try to do something about it. Hold on for a second. I might have to go out and come back in, but just stick around. I'll be right back. There I am. Holy shit. Oh, wow. You know what? The old man in technology. I was able to fix it. So everybody still with me? Anyway, so we're back. So you can hear me, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Everything's okay. All right, so we can continue with the show. Listen, so the point where I was at was it's just time for us to move on, and oh man, so I got some more stuff for y'all to check out, to listen to, and I just wanted to make sure we get caught up a little bit about, just to recap before we got off, was my little thought on why I got off the plantation, and why we need to start to look at the people who are the black faces of who might have at one point been useful to us, the people we admired through the years, and then all of a sudden they kind of turned away from being useful to us and being more like just being used by the Democratic Party to keep us in place. So I have a couple of people I wanted to talk about. So the first, hey, what's going on, Ebony? All right, the first set of people I want to talk about is right here. So let me share this. Then we'll get to the second set of people I'm talking about. All right, so you guys can see this, right? Yeah, y'all can see that. Right, so these are the first set of people I want to talk about, who I think that now their message is getting lost because of the way they behave. And the thing is that most of the black leaders we talk and look up to, they're all liberals. And the thing about a two-party system is this, that's really the big mistake, is that if you vote for one plank, you got to vote for all of that shit, right? You got to accept everything that they do in that party. And right now, for years, the Democratic Party has been taken over by the far left, the socialists, the alphabet community, things that are not good for the future of our children, or future of parents, future of marriage, the future of anything. There is a whole new thing that they want to do that is not something that a lot of people can get their head around. So I think the referendum for putting Trump back in office is a telltale sign. So let's just go around the horn. Fat Al Sharpton wasn't all bad. I mean, none of these people are all bad. So it's not good and bad. It's what they're being used for right now. Fat Al Sharpton did a couple of things when I was younger that I admired him for. One, when he was stabbed, and the guy from the Italian neighborhood, Michael Picardi, whatever his name was, something like that, the first thing Al did when he came to was tell black people not to retaliate, not to have some kind of vengeful motive to fight back in the Italians in New York City. I thought that was something good for him to do. I thought that was memorable of him to say, listen, I don't want revenge in that kind of fashion. They put that guy in jail later on and that kind of stuff. The second thing I thought he did that I remember and I thought was good was when in 1998, it came to a head when 4 New Jersey state troopers tried to kill 4 black students in a car who were coming home from a basketball game or something. They were just trying to go home. They had a high-end car. The troopers stopped their car and just started shooting at them. They didn't have no guns, no weapons. They just started shooting in the car. And they heard some of the kids bad enough where they couldn't continue to play basketball. Of course, they got compensated, but Al Sharpton got a bunch of local leaders in the area, and they changed the SOP on the New Jersey State Turnpike because they found that racial profiling had got to a certain level that it was untenable. Right, so they couldn't deny it. They could. To this day, those police still can't come up with a cogent reason why they just opened fire on a group of black people in a car. So if it wasn't, these guys were squeaky clean, and they were trying to murder them. So now we got bobblehead Al Sharpton, and bobblehead Al Sharpton. Even besides, Al Sharpton used to be a close friend of close useful idiot or friend or whatever, or acquaintance of Donald Trump. Now he hates him for some reason, right? But the bobblehead Al Sharpton has a show that's ratings are so low that he's only on air because if they can get any kind of propaganda out to blacks, they're going to use him to do it. And then he had that stupid boycott, right, of Target by telling all these black people to go to Costco to spend their money. How come he didn't go to like a black-owned business? But no, he went to Costco, spend all your money over here. So, and then he got paid to give that so-called powder puff interview to Kamala Harris, right? You got Hakeem Jeffries. Every time you see him talk, you say, man, if this guy's the Democratic leader, they're in trouble, right? You got, of course, President Barack Obama, who we all were in love with. But I know I voted for him twice. And on all of that kind of stuff, the black thing, the black skin is in kind of thing. And then it turns out the only thing he championed was the alphabet community. I give him one credit for the saving the world market by making deals with the Barracudas to fix the world market. But then with his legacy, you could say healthcare with holes in it, right? It wasn't a complete fix, but his real legacy is propelling the alphabet community above everything. That's his legacy, the alphabets. Of course, Mayor Adams, you know, he was for sanctuary cities. He betrayed all his black constituencies. And then he says, okay, you know what? Maybe this is a bit too much. It's going to destroy the city. And then now that the Biden administration try to put him in jail. Of course, Aliana Presley, this chick over here with the bald head, you know, I'm sure maybe some of her constituents love her, but she's for censorship. She wants to censor people who don't agree with her, you know, and anybody who wants to censor people who don't want to agree with them, I'm against, right? So there's no way I could support anything she says, is because the only thing she cares about is that you have to agree with her bullshit, or else the Democratic bullshit, or else you shouldn't be allowed to speak. You know, I can't get with that. Of course, Maxine Waters, back in the day when I was a baby, maybe she was great, maybe back then, but she's overstayed her welcome being in office for 40-something years. They say her district is one of the worst ever. You know, I think it's California somewhere. It's just one of the worst. And then, of course, there's Jasmine Crockett, you know, and, you know, there's nothing to say about her. She's a chameleon. You know, she's just saying things because she thinks, you know, to talk to black people as if we're infants, that's all you need to do, right? So that's her shtick. And then, of course, this brother Al Green, every time you say his name, you feel bad for the real Al Green, right? Because this guy, you know what? I saw him talk about his censure when they censured him in the House, and they didn't read that publicly, so he read it for us. Listen, I think it's admirable for somebody to want to stand up for Medicaid, and that's his stick, right? But he wants to impeach Trump too, but standing up for Medicaid is something that a congressman should want to do if he thinks it's in trouble, right? That's fine. You know, that's looking for the little guy. But disrupting and being a face of disruption in a joint session, but a joint speech to the world in Congress is, why does it have to be a black face showing his ass? And I'm trying to say, well, maybe he's not really black. He looks ambiguous. You know, but everybody's going to call him black, right? You know, they're going to call him black. And then, of course, Brandon Johnson is a race traitor. He's an absolute race traitor. I don't see how anybody could ever vote for this fucking guy again. You know, matter of fact, he should be going to jail, you know, or one of them. And I'm going to get to that too, because I think some of these leaders are breaking the law, federal law. And, you know, he stands up for illegal immigrants over his own constituents, and he's not backing down. So I can't, you know, so to me, these guys may have had their lines in the sun, but I think they're useful idiots now for the Democratic puppet masters. And, you know, and they standing 10 toes down on that. They're standing 10 toes down on it. Maybe that's something to be admirable, but for black people, voting 90% on the Democratic plantation hasn't been healthy for us it's we see the class divide, but we're leaving not we're leaving. A lot of people are being, I guess, tricked into the same old bullshit. And it's been going on for too long. It's been going on for too long. What's up, champ? What's going on? What's happening? You know, what you up to? So that's one of my problems with what they're doing with the Democrats, and this just keeps going on and on and on and on. So again, I'm like I like to show clips only because it's great to hear other people say things more articulately than I'm articulating, and it's good to hear more people sounding the way I do out in the diaspora. It's not me just saying this shit over the airwaves. There's a lot of people who think there's something wrong with the way we vote and the way the Democrats are treating Black people and the way the country is going went under their leadership. And we need to do something about it. And we need to continue to do something about it because it's really, really bad.
Saying something. It's not enough that they humiliated themselves at Trump's speech to Congress. Now they've decided to take to social media to continue the self-flagellation to remedy their self-diagnosed messaging problem. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 200,000 subscribers. But let's start with what the Democrats consider to be their resonating and inspiring message to the American people.
Choose your character.
Oh my God.
So that was their attempt to connect with the younger voter, I guess, by pretending to be video game characters and having different stats and strengths. Let's take a look at all these in case you missed them. We've got Solhee Jessica Wu, her strengths being a bento box queen, mommy of the century, and her negative stat being sleep deprived. So we have AOC, New York's 14th congressional district, youngest woman Latina to be elected to the House. And her negative stat is Trekkie, which I don't know what that means. Yeah. There's Rep. Catherine Clark, House Minority Whip, Massachusetts 5th congressional district, not into hair dye. And of course, we have Ghetto Jasmine Crockett, Texas's 30th congressional district, public defender plus attorney. Those are the same thing. And her downsides are not a morning person. Well, they should have added not a people's person, not a nice person, not a respectable person, but I guess not a morning person works. So instead of realizing that it's their disastrous policies, political personalities, abysmal track record, and an overall anti-American spirit that most Americans aren't feeling, they think it's these kind of antics that are what's missing, that's stopping the Democrat Party from elevating to this gold standard. But in hilarious fashion, the White House dropped their response video, and it is absolutely epic. Watch.
Choose your character.
Okay, not only was that White House video epic, but the production quality was just through the roof. It's pretty evident that the Democrat Party is feeling the spigot of funds being turned off by their donors, because everything that they're doing, from their popsicle sticks to these embarrassing, cringy TikTok things, looks incredibly low budget and sloppily put together. So social media has been having a field day with that video, obviously. But another thing they've been having a field day with is Al Green, who got censured by Congress. The Democrat Party starts to break out in kumbaya songs right in the middle of the House chambers. Watch.
That Representative Al Green forthwith presented himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order.
He can barely keep from laughing himself, man. He's trying to get order, and he's barely holding it together.
What's it? You want to keep doing this?
I mean, their methods are so pathetic. It's the same kind of leftist performative theater kid nonsense that you see when people who are trying to protest climate change start throwing paint at ancient paintings or gluing their hand to the pavement. They think that this performance is going to win the hearts over of Americans, when in reality, all it looks like is they're at a job interview with the American people as their employer. And when the American people ask them a question, how are you going to improve our lives? The Democrat response is bursting out into sing-song. Listen to Scott Jennings on CNN talk about this embarrassment.
Let me stop it there. We don't have to go any further. You get the point. You get the point. It's just so cringeworthy about what they're doing, and I got more. I mean, there's just more. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's a bad look. It's a bad, what's going on with these people, right? So I like I said, I have some clips about different things that other conservatives are picking up that they want to share with you. I mean, the next one I want to show is Jasmine Crockett being interviewed, right, from this brother, Black Conservative Network, and you just tell me what you think about her. And the guy who's interviewing her right now, you could tell me what you think about him. This is where the masculine men come in, because I don't think this guy is a member of that.
Fake ass felon on stage. I see you got your cross because the devil is here to steal, kill, and destroy.
I needed some garlic. That's it. I need some garlic too. I need all the things, honey. Am I ready to see him? No. But we'll see. I'm here.
Look, I'm calling it the state of delusion with this man because obviously he's very delusional. Child, let's talk about delusion. This man really thinks that he's going to give the American people, and some people believe this lie, that he's going to give us a $2,000 check. The math ain't mathing.
2,000. I thought it was 5.
Maybe it's 5,000. They can't get their numbers right.
Let me help you. It's 0. How about that? It's 0. And I know people gonna feel away. Listen, all I do is give y'all facts. So you come back to me when you don't get that check and say, Jasmine, you were right. Just like y'all want to get out there and say all kinds of, other stuff.
He's hearing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't. We showed up. And if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do for sure. We got some cool shirts. We got Madam Williams.
Okay, just listen. You can hear him inside the Congress, the Hall of Congress, giving his speech, and she's out in the hall with a bunch of these people, right? Over talking because she didn't want to support him, so she's not going to be in the hall of the Congress.
This is not what we should be doing. I don't even know why we fighting with Greenland. Why we fighting with Greenland? We fighting with Canada. We fighting with Mexico. Yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it. That while we may not have the numbers just yet, that doesn't mean that we don't have fight left in our bodies. And so I am going to fight him every step of the way until we get what we deserve, because it was my ancestors that built this motherfucker. Okay, I'm done now. I'm done.
First of all, thank you for making the back of my head famous. But second of all, if we could do a sequel, if you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
And before I get into Bill Maher's response, because I know some people say, well, it's just the white man.
Did you? I just, let me skip past this guy for a second. That's my man, a Black conservative, but we're going to go right to the next part, because Brother Tariq Nasheed has an issue with Jasmine Crockett, and most of us black folks know him, whether we agree with his politics or the fact that he coined the phrase FBA or coined it, but he actually trademarked it so he could get money when it gets used.
And also, she's really going out here defending a very unpopular administration. The Democrats, they're very unpopular right now, and their issues are unpopular, and she's running out here trying to protect and defend that, and it's not a good look, especially with black folks. We ain't trying to hear none of that shit. And her social media strategy is forced. You know, she's trying too hard to go viral. It's cringy because it's performative sass, and she's out here promoting more immigration. So you're not really reading the room. And also, to be very honest, that whole strong, sassy black woman trope, that shit is being overplayed. Yeah, that lost its muster. See, this is why the DNC, they're about a decade behind. They think, okay, let's push out that strong black woman, sister girl shit, and everybody's going to fall for it and fall in line. So they get Jasmine out here to be the sassy, no nonsense black woman to excite the base. And people are tired of that shit because, okay, strong black women didn't run around sassing all day. They did something for the family. They provided for the family. They sacrificed for the family. They fed the family. They advocated for the family. That's where the strength was. The strength wasn't you running around being loud, sassy, with big goddamn caterpillar eyelashes and flipping bundles all day. You know what? And that's not associated with black woman's strength. That's associated with hood radishness, which is the opposite of black woman's strength.
Hey, I gotta say, I might disagree with Tariq Nasheed when it comes to the reparations stuff, but when it comes to his criticisms of Jasmine Crockett, Jasmine Ratchet, he is 100% correct. Okay, black people are not rocking with it. Like, a lot of people are not okay with the fact that you have this sitting congresswoman who claims to represent black folks acting in a stereotypically ghetto way. Right? It's a really bad look for black folks. And, strong black men at the very least. No, we don't like that, right? We don't like that at all because we understand what a strong black woman is. A strong black woman is not some ghetto fabulous congresswoman that's loud and sassy. No, that's not a strong black woman. A strong black woman is a woman that understands her role as a wife, okay, and a mother, and she takes care of the home, right? She does and fulfills her role as a traditional woman. Again, there's not a lot of options out there to choose from nowadays, right? But hey, that is what we define, okay? Strong black men define as a strong black woman, not Jasmine Crockett and whatever stunt she's trying to pull. And to my knowledge, Miss Jasmine Crockett isn't married and she doesn't have kids. Again, it should be no surprise, okay, there, okay? We all know why. Her ghetto ratchet behavior is just not desirable, right? It's not desirable among men. And again, you can see the situation that she's in right now, considering how, again, according to my knowledge, according to what has been put out there, she's not married and she doesn't have kids, okay? Nobody wants that, right? No man wants that, okay? Jasmine Ratchet is good for 15 minutes, right? A quick pump and dump, D and dash, right? That type of thing. But anything more than that, nah, we good, right? We're good, okay? We don't want that. That's not what men desire, okay, at all. Okay, so she's not a good representation of the strong black woman at all, okay? So with that being said, Bill Maher, okay, he's going to roast the Democrats, including Jasmine Crockett, for their cringe behavior.
Was apropos of what's going on the left. And by the way, if you watch the speech, I saw mostly the clips of it, and mostly it was people in the audience, the guy with the cane, people with like paddles. Oh, there's the cane dude. And then there's, okay, we're here's our pussy hat uniform. And these looks like you're at a auction signs. I mean, it was, John Fetterman called it a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. I love him. I said he should run last week. The Democrats seem so lost. And here's Jasmine Crockett, who is, I thought, a big leader in the Democratic Party. Her quote is, "This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it." On with what would be my first question. And also, this is the way this is like how a podcaster talks or some shit. Fuck it, man. Can you imagine, I don't know, Obama saying, "Oh, man, dude, this shit is whacked and fuck it. I'm fucking over it." I mean, come on, man.
Also, there are a lot.
You know, I mean, that's enough of that. Listen, I don't know where, you know, she thinks that shit's effective. I really don't. Hey, what's going on, Tommy? What's happening, man?
It's no more pain.
All right. What you got, man? What you got?
I think it's just all goofy. You know what I'm saying? I think, especially with her, because from what I understand, she don't even come from that. She grew up in a very elite neighborhood, went to a very elite high school, et cetera, et cetera. So it's clown behavior. It's sad. I have a huge problem with just politics in general right now, though. The arrogance that a lot of black people that are doing this Republican push walk around with is kind of irritating to me. And then the dumbness of some of the Democrats, black people that walk around is stupid to me. One thing I would ask most of the Republican backers is education important to you?
Well, listen, of course it is.
Okay. But I never see none of y'all talk about how the top 5 worst education states are Republican states. It's never brought up.
No, well,
Ever.
you're bringing it up now.
No, I ain't bringing it up. What I'm saying is,
if you're talking about Mississippi, Louisiana,
no, it's Alaska, Arizona, New Mexico.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, my problem with the coverage of politics in general is it's not becoming coverage; it's becoming propaganda, where you willingly ignore the bad on your side to push the good. And it's happening on both sides. And that's what irritates me about politics now. That's why I can't watch the news. The news does the exact same thing. And then you come to podcasts and I guess regular people shows, and it's infested that too, to where one side acts like their side is the angels and they're going to save the world. And then the other side are like the demons, and oh my God, if they're elected, yada, yada, yada. So, perfect example. When the thing happened with Trump, oh my God, I can't believe the Democrats will laugh. He almost got killed. But yet I saw Republicans laughing when Pelosi's husband nearly got killed when he was hit in the head, when the person came in his house and hit him in the head. You get what I'm saying? I think both of them, I think both is disgusting. But again, this is what we play. And so for me, I think it's childish on both sides and it's sad as fuck. Like I don't think we gain anything from this shit because it's just team sports now. It's
hold on for a second, Tom, before you go any further, because I don't disagree with anything you just said. But the fact that you're up here on my show, my podcast, and I have no problem with you saying what you're saying. So the issue is who you're listening to and whether they will give equal time to equal people who have different opinions. And that's what I like to do. One of the problems with the two-party system, I'll let you go and let you finish, is that a vote for one party or the other, you gotta take it all the shit that they go. If I vote for a Republican, all the planks they have come with that one vote. If you vote for the Democrats, everything they stand for comes with that one vote. And so that's why we need to kind of peel back the onion. If you ask me, everybody might not be this way, but you ask me why I didn't vote for I stopped voting for the Democrats, I can tell you why. Not that the Republicans are better, but I know they don't stand for some of the things that the Democrats do. And we don't have to get down to that. So that's where we need to be, right? So it's not like, it's whether you want to continue to do something. And I got some more stuff, but go ahead and finish what you was going to say if you got some more. And then we'll welcome Frank up here. Oh, what happened? What happened, Tommy? What something else going on? I can't. You coming back? I can't hear you. Got you
Yeah,
on?
yeah. No, I had got a phone call, so it kind of went
Okay.
out for a second. But
Okay.
no, because like even look at this is a perfect example when I'm talking about when I talk about this the political shit.
Okay.
So look at the goofy ass comment. Oh, but he's not a former president.
Yeah, but
The fuck
that's
does that
somebody's
matter?
comment. But that's somebody's comment, though.
But no, but what I'm saying is that's the general consensus of how this shit goes. And that's what I'm saying. Like when again, it's turned into team sports. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm a Browns fan and I'm arguing with you that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm totally ignoring the fact that we're absolute trash because I'm a fan of the Browns. And
But
that's
the
essentially what it's
Cowboys
turned
do that
into.
shit every year.
You see what
Cowboys
I'm
fans do that shit every year.
but that's what it's turned into. You get what I'm saying? It's like because I sit back.
But tell me, what you expect it to be? I mean, human nature being
But
such as it
Arpain,
is.
it wasn't like this. I mean, I'm gonna be 100 with you. It
Okay.
started like this with Obama. I don't know who to blame for it to go, but before Obama, you always had your side, but it wasn't this bad.
No, I agree
And
with that.
after
I agree.
Obama, it's literally just been like my personal belief is most people are more moderate than left or right. You got some shit on the left you agree with. You got some shit on the right you agree with. That's
I did a
most
stream
people.
on that. I did a stream on that.
I think the problem with the politics today is, especially with the coverage, is you don't get any emotion unless you're super far right or super far left. And so now that's what's fed into the public, and now it works everybody up, and now everybody's pissed off, and whoever gets picked president, it's the end of the world. Obama gets picked, it's the end of the world. Trump gets picked, it's the end of the world. Biden gets picked, it's the end of this country will never be the same, et cetera, et cetera. In some senses, I get what they're saying because of some of the decisions that could be made. But ultimately, it's like, I mean, I remember when Obama got picked, you better buy your guns now. You'll never be able to buy a gun after this guy. And like,
man, that wasn't true, right? But hold on. Let's my man Frank get in here a little bit. And then we'll, yeah, Frank, what you got, man? You rush home so you can get on this thing.
Listen, man, I got a video. I got a reaction to record. I got a reaction to record. Listen, man, because I never can make it over here, man. So
I appreciate you coming up, man. Good, bad, or indifference, man. Go ahead, man. What you got?
I agree with Tommy. I agree with Tommy, man. I feel like a lot of people online they push narratives, and it just be that, like, whether it's on the left or the right, man, it's just all narrative pushing. I feel like the people who do these political podcasts, y'all don't tell good, bad, and indifferent. Y'all tell good on one side and just keep it that way. No, I didn't see nobody who is a MAGA supporter, Trump supporter, get online and say, damn, like Trump was going after, Canada and Mexico with these tariffs all crazy. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Then Canada hit back because all these people don't know that American made cars go across both borders. Like, American made cars go down to Mexico for certain parts, then they come back to America, and then they go to Canada for some parts, and then they come back to America to go on the showroom floor. So that car going through America, going down to Mexico, was going to be tariff heavy because they were retaliating against the US. It was going to come back to America. They were going to have to pay that tariff. And then we were going to send it to Canada for certain parts. And then we were going to have to pay a hefty fucking tariff over there. And then to bring it back, it was going to be another, people didn't realize that. So the day after he put those tariffs up, what'd he do? He backed off of the tariff again and did another 30 days. Why? Because he had the people who run the car industry and all that told him, like, bro, you know how much money we're about to be paying to send our cars to Mexico and to be sending our cars to Canada? But I didn't see nobody saying like, "Damn, man, Trump had to think about that."
Frank, hold on for a second. So then the system worked, right? So
No, it
he
didn't.
Well, hold on. Well, he didn't do it because he got people in his ear, and he said, "I listen."
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying. That
Yeah,
okay.
that's a different. Hey, listen. Another thing on the tariffs. A lot of people. Is it okay for everybody else to tariff our shit, but we can't do it back as
Every
America?
country tariff everybody
Oh,
on
wait, hold
imports
on,
and
hold on,
every
that's a
you
question
just
I
asked me a
asked.
question.
But then
Every country tariff everybody on import
Okay.
and export.
So then it's okay for us to have tariffs too. Then.
I didn't say that it wasn't. I said every country does it already, though.
So I'm trying to get to your argument. So this one instance is.
I'm just saying I didn't see none of y'all. I didn't see none of y'all come up here. I didn't hear none. I'm just saying I didn't see nobody who supports that come up here and be like, "Yo,
You just
I think
did.
he overshot."
But
I'm
you just
talking
did.
about the people who actually support. I didn't see none of y'all to be like, "Yo, man, he overshot this one." But it's okay because he's still doing this good. Or the fact that he's like you said, right? You said that you support. You said that when you have to support everything that side does, and I don't agree with that. So that means
If you give him a
that
vote,
means so that means you support them taking away
No,
890
you
million
misinterpret
of
what I said.
SSA.
You misinterpret what I said. If
How?
you vote for one party or the other, right, your vote goes for everything they do, not whether you agree with everything they do. That's what I mean. If I vote for Republicans and they got 10 things on the plank and I only like 6 of them, I can't just say I don't like the other 4. I'm not going to say I like them, but I'm taking the good with the bad.
Well,
So
I mean, you can say what you don't like.
But the point is the vote is still a vote.
Right, the vote is a vote,
so
but
that
you can
means
still
that the
disagree
vote I
with some
cast,
things.
that's when we're having a conversation. But when I vote for it, I'm voting for all 10.
I give you that. I give you that.
That's what I mean. That's
Okay,
what I mean.
okay. I was about to say because it's a lot of things on both sides, like that I could agree with or don't agree with, but I gotta go with the person who I feel like. But I feel like
Hey, Michelle,
he's
you have to
going
come
to.
on camera.
Okay, yeah, but I feel like maybe this time this party, I feel like is moving in a way that I can support. And this, this one is not moving in the way that I can support at that time.
You gotta stay
And
on
so
camera.
that's all I was
Michelle.
gonna
You
say.
can't just come on camera. They want you to stay on camera. That's the rule. Yeah, listen,
And
you're pretty enough to stay
you're
on camera.
unmuted. You're muted.
You're still muted.
You're muted.
You're muted, Michelle.
You're muted.
The reason why I asked if I can take it up because I'm also multitasking. So if I can ask for a waiver.
You know what? Listen, I know it's you, but you know what? We do that. Everybody says, I'll give you a waiver. What the hell? But stay on the mic.
Okay,
What
thank
you.
you.
You working that government job? You're doing 2 things at once and shit. What you doing? You got that Cheeto. What to? Anyway,
Hey.
Frank, you got some more?
Man. Nah, man, that's it. I just wanted to I thought you were saying that if you if you go with that means you support almost because I'm like shit. It's some things like on both sides that I agree with, and then it's things on the others, on both sides that I just inherently don't agree with, and what I'm saying. Then you just make the best decision
let's
for
stay on that
you and your
point.
family.
I'm gonna let Michelle go, but let's stay on before you go, Michelle. Let me stay on that point. That's the reason why the part of the 2-party system, even though I think a lot of people are in the middle, even if you're independent, you still lean one way or the other on deciding factors. What irks you the most or what you like the most, right? So even if you're independent, you'll decide on what side of it. For me, some of the things on the left, I just can't live with, even if I like some of the other stuff. I like the moderate life because I believe we live in that gray area as people. But it's no way I can agree with mutilating children, and call it gender affirming care. I'm against that. I'm against the DNC having unborn baby sacrifices outside of the damn convention. At the same time, while you're talking life in the convention to billionaires, you got trucks outside deleting babies. I can't get with that.
They
I
had
can't get
a mobile abortion clinic.
They had a whole bunch of mobile abortion clinics outside of DNC. I can't get with the taking parental rights away from being, from parents, adults, for their kids, while they're grooming them to go. And everybody says only 1% of the population. That 1% of the population, the alphabet community, have a whole lot of fucking power somehow. right? I can't be with that.
So
you know, so I think another 4 years where they're making you and me lose jobs if I don't want to use your stupid ass pronoun. I don't agree with that.
So
I don't, you know,
I feel that. I feel that.
So what I'm saying, there's a lot of things. So I'm not generalist. And the other thing I don't agree with, and we're going to get to it, is I don't agree. I think there's something wrong with us being the only demographic who gives most of our votes to one party, whether we like both parties or not. I think there's an issue with that.
I was gonna say that's not true because
it is true.
80% of aren't 80% of Caucasians Republican or conservative?
No.
So they what?
I don't think that's true at all. I got a stat. I got a statistic. We'll come back to. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit high.
Yeah, that's high.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look it back up.
Yeah, it's not though. I got a statistic for that. But Shelly, what you got?
Good evening. Thank you for having me on the panel and thank you for the waiver. Today I was
I'm
watching the Hill.
gonna take one for the Gipper by giving you the waiver. I just want you to know that. But go ahead.
I was watching the Hill today, and the Democratic Party are trying to reorganize within themselves. So a group of donors, special constituents within the Democratic Party, have started a new form within the Democratic called the Third Waiver. And basically they have 5 pointers. One of the 5 pointers they want to do is that they want to reconstruct the Democratic Party in reference to their messages, like not focus on cultural issues such as transgenderism, gay issues, Black issues per se, but speak on more general issues like finances, economy, day-to-day stuff, not focusing on marginalized or fringe topics, because that's what was veering the Democratic Party off, is that they were taking on too many fringe topics. So hopefully they're trying to reorganize, but to me it appeared per the segment that is still a disagreement within the Democratic Party because certain Democratic members don't want to take on the fringe topics anymore.
Right.
So I'm not sure if it's going to cause an internal split within the Democratic Party. Because if you go to Europe and other places, there's more than 2 parties. There's like 5, 6 parties. You know, in America, we only have this duopoly. So is that really healthy? Because not everything, you don't align with everything on the left. You don't align with everything on the right. So where should you be placed, or anyone be placed who is in that situation? So that's, just food for thought, because even me, as I'm getting older, I don't agree with everything that's on the left. It's just too, like I said, too fringe. Because again, I work in the urban community, and when it comes to issues of men going to the bathroom, I have real issues because I know I've been in situations where I've had people of questionable mental health going to the bathrooms and having situations, and I'm not going to go into detail. So now you're going to just make it legalize somebody just slap a wig on their head and say, I feel like a woman today, and go to the bathroom. I live in an urban community. I know what's up with weirdos in the bathrooms or what they can potentially do in the bathroom. So number one, I was like, I'm off that stuff. And when we in the urban community say, hey, we have issues with men coming into the bathroom because of, underlying issues, the Democratic Party or the liberal parties, they always dismiss us.
Right. Well,
let's keep it solid. Most of them weirdos ain't in our community; they in that other community.
But they're coming to urban communities. They come. Let me tell you, because I had a few situations when I was working one time where a guy, he liked to go to the bathroom and relieve himself. I had another situation where a man was going into the bathroom. Because I work with people with disabilities, and he would like to go into the bathroom to look at things. So for me, based on my experience, I have an issue with that. But however, when I had a colleague of mine, she said she went to one of these topics of trans in the a trans community meeting and expressed those concerns, she was cut off. She was shut down.
Well, listen, I mean, we can go.
I mean, that's an extreme. I don't want to make that the main topic of your show, if you don't mind, but I'm just sharing that as an example.
No, I think you're fine. That's fine with the example. I mean, everybody's giving their examples, but let me just go back to the point of this kind of show, because I I'm making no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. I'm more for getting off the majority of blacks being on one-sided votes. I think that's our mistake. And it's going to make me automatically sound like a champion of the Republican Party. That's only because we got two parties. I would rather all of us be independent. If you listen to my first, in 2023, when I did my first divest from the Democratic Party, I said we should all be more independents and voting for the party that best suits us at the time, who have the right planks. I'd rather us be there as opposed to giving us allegiance. But for my whole entire lifetime, since I'm a little bit older than all of you guys, I just remember black people just giving our votes to the Democrats. And then when you look at the grassroots, you know, our inner cities are still the worst. And we could point to the red states where they don't have any, you know, they have their own issues. That doesn't mean the red states don't have bad communities. But when you look at the blue states in states of plenty, like California and New York, you go down some places in the Bronx and all that, we ain't talking, it's really, really bad in some of these constituencies. And if the Democrats were really doing stuff for us, why would they make those states into sanctuary cities and take the little bit of tax dollars and give it to some fucking illegal aliens? You know, when we couldn't, excuse my language, when we can't even get certain things repurposed in our own neighborhoods, like buildings that have been abandoned, but they did it for illegals, not pay one dime in our state taxes. And so I think people should, I would be mad at that. Go ahead. Who's going to say? Somebody's going to say something. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, another issue I have. Remember how that sister in the I think in Detroit, her kids were killed because they froze to death in a car. I haven't heard no illegals froze to death outside. So when I look at those issues, I have a lot of, you know, I've raised a lot of concern because accessing housing is a big issue in very urban. I live in the DC area, so access to affordable housing is a joke.
Oh yeah.
So again, I have a lot of, you know, a lot of our community, because a lot of us, how should I say, because of the system itself, when we're not prepared to enter the system, so we're falling victims to high rent, cost of living. So we're falling short. And then the issue I have with Trump and the government, a lot of these federal jobs are what made DC, the DC area, because I live in the outskirts. So everybody I know, work with, colleagues, family, everybody has some type of involvement with the government. And so I have issues with Trump calling federal government workers lazy, because if it wasn't for the federal government, I don't know what my community would do and my circles would do.
Well, yeah, I agree with you as well, because I worked for the federal government for my whole career. So let me just tell you guys, one of the things that the federal is, and I was in the Department of Defense, and one thing I did notice is that they threw us in the water, especially as an engineer. I used to go to meetings with contractors. They would have their VPs, their chief engineers in the room. And here I am, like a GS9 or 7, talking to these guys making millions of dollars and shit. And I had to, you know, talk about programming. Now, I wasn't always good at it until I got good at it, right? But they would throw us in the water. And by the time the government got an engineer up to like a GS12 or a 13, we were able to compete with anybody from private industry in terms of our knowledge and technology. So yeah, so this coming down on the government workers like they're less than, for the most part, depends on where you work. That shit's certainly not true. Now, do we have some bureaucratic jobs? You know.
And Trey, there's lazy workers in every industry. That like there's like you can send a reference for your homie and then he can be lazy as hell when he get there, dogs. It's lazy workers everywhere.
Yeah, but
majority of the veterans, majority of the federal workers are I would say at least half of federal workers are veterans. Former military service members,
but not half of them, but a lot.
No, that's what I said close to half. They're like, it's like 40 something, like 40%, something like that. So almost like 40 something percent of federal workers are veterans. So you just saying blanket statement that they're lazy, like people who put their life on the line for this country. I mean, did you, or like they're lazy? Like that makes absolutely no sense. But I mean, I know how you are in here, so it's all good.
Well, that's okay. Okay, what you had to say, Tommy?
No, I was gonna say, to his point, you kind of can't compare it to the private industry because the federal is getting paid with our tax dollars, so we kind of have a vested interest if they're lazy because
I mean,
it's wasted spending. I'm not making the case for them being
that
lazy.
don't make any sense.
Because
It's a little bit.
if I have a lazy worker at a private industry, that's a private industry. That means that the boss of that company
Air Force
has to deal with the fact that that person is lazy. If you have a person that's lazy and they're a federal employee, they're getting paid with our tax dollars. So you have a different concern with that person being lazy because I mean you looked at as wasteful spending. If my employee, if Tommy Benson's employee is lazy, what do you care for? I'm paying them. But if a federal employee is lazy, that's coming out of all of our pockets.
You
And I'm
wouldn't,
not
but
again,
you
I'm
wouldn't
not
even, but you wouldn't even know.
But
Like that's
hold
the
on,
thing.
though.
You
Hold
wouldn't
on.
even know.
Before we go down that rabbit hole,
Uh-huh.
the truth of the matter, the real issue, the thing is, the private industry has a profit motive for every person that they have on payroll.
Exactly.
That's the profit motive is the difference. You can get lost in the federal government, and the rules that could have you fired can keep you around for a long time on the taxpayers' dollars, and nobody would care. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Because I've been around. And show if you ever looked at that, Frank. There's some guys we can't make a blanket
Of
statement.
course, that's what I just said.
But that's what I was saying. But the people that can get away with it in the federal government, they pretty much will never be able to get away with it in a private industry. Every dollar you get in the private industry has to be tied to some bottom line, unless they purposely put you on overhead. It's scrutiny. It's a bad argument for us to keep going down the thing.
No, it's just
private industry. It's just more.
Yeah, but all I was saying was I think that's crazy to make that a blatant statement, like federal workers just sitting on their ass, just not doing nothing. That's what like it's okay to be like, yo, we're cutting some fat. We gotta do. We review some stuff and we gotta make some cuts. That's one thing, but to make a blanket statement like all federal workers are just lazy and just not doing shit. When you say federal workers, is that not blanket?
No, it's not. It's not. Not really.
And I'm not emotional. I'm just bringing some. I'm not emotional. I'm bringing something to the table to have a discussion about it.
No. What I'm trying to say is that we can't keep going around and say not all. Sometimes it's time in a regular conversation. We make generalizations, and we know it's not all federal employees, even if they don't say it themselves, right? Because believe it or not, everybody in Congress, the Senate, the presidency, they're all federal employees.
Well, and even like the comment that you said about them being veterans, I'm a veteran. It's a lot of lazy motherfuckers in the military.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm a veteran too, so I never said that it wasn't. I'm just saying though.
No, but what I'm saying is you brought it up.
Yeah.
And then you question, are you saying veterans are lazy?
That's not the context that I brought it up in. That's not what I said. That's not how I brought it up. I was just saying that, I'm saying like there's people out there who put their life on the line, went out there, did what they wasn't do. I'm just saying that those people right there, those people wasn't lazy. They went over there and they still helping veterans out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's all I was saying. That's it.
Okay, we got you. Before we go any further, I got this chart up for a reason. Anybody, if you're here, hit the like button, please. Like, share, subscribe, do all that kind of good stuff. I put this up for a reason because, like I said, I try to get to the bottom line of what our issue is, not what our issue is, but for the things that the condition that we're in. I'm trying to find what the common denominator is for our condition. Our relationships are all fucked up. Our marriage rates are low. Our children in general across blue and red states have the lowest reading and writing levels of anybody else, even with the Department of Education in full swing, right? Our families are broken and shattered. We champion some of the worst shit, especially with the bullhorns and the women with the bullhorns, champion transgenders, champion all kinds of fuckery, right? And we champion that stuff. I'm just trying to get the hand. We champion women and men's sports. You know, it's a lot more people. The liberal side of the house champion a lot of shit that ain't good for us, right? And so I'm saying, what's the common denominator? That all of that we champion DDI when it's not even for us. We're the face of it. Al Sharpton, everybody's telling us we need that to succeed. Well, affirmative action was hijacked by white women. Nobody said anything about it, and they took advantage of it. And so I'm saying the one common denominator that I see, and everybody can say they see everything else, is that we almost in general vote for the fucking Democrats and liberalism. And here's the chart that shows that. And this is just for the last election. And just this last election for the men, we went under 80%. We were usually more in the 90 or 85 to 90 percentile. Black women are still firmly on the plantation. And there's reason for that, because they get coddled by the Democrats. They get reaffirmed and reaffirmed by the Democrats. If they have all the programs run by the Democrats for them, so they feel safe that Zaddy, if nobody else, is going to be looking out for them. Black men just finally started to say, wait a minute, what's in this shit for us? And it came to a sharp edge when Obama came out there and told us that we're all assholes if we don't vote for fucking Kamala Harris. So I'm just trying to say, and that was his lowest point, by the way. But if you look at all the other demographics, none of them give all of their allegiance to any party, even white people. And so I did this further, and I did a live right here on BMU's network, where I said, even if 100% of black men and 100% of black women voted for Kamala Harris, she still would have lost, but she would have won one state, but she would have lost everywhere else. He would still be president. So now the Democrats see that they can't just rely on the black vote to get what they want. But that's not the issue I'm talking about. The issue that so many of us vote for them has to manifest itself some way, right? So we need to step off and go down to that unknown and see what we could do as independents, because we can't rely on shit like them promising reparations every 5 minutes. Oh, we'll give you 100,000 and go study it. We don't need to study it. And so there's a whole bunch of shit going on for us staying on a plantation, and it ain't healthy. But I mean, enough with me ranting. What do you guys say? This is my theory.
I agree. I agree with you, but I think what it is, my theory is, we as a collective, black people as a collective, we're not voting in our interest. Especially a lot of us as black people, and me living in the DC area as black women, we don't vote in our interest of our collective. We're voting in interest of vanity. I see Kamala as me. Go sister girl, go sister girl. I'm going, because I had a friend who was part of the Kamala camp, and they were having meetings, and she'll have her little fraternity cutie pie stuff going on, looking all cute. It was more about her. Her vote wasn't about the collective. I mean, just one individual. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I live in the DC area, so it was about the women, like you said, the Democratic Party, in terms of the black community, they do a good job in terms of marketing to us. And they know that we chastise our men, which is not good in terms of, I know if someone, I even had to talk with someone, not just election, but the previous election, hey, whoever her son is, allow him to talk about his political beliefs and see where he's going and support him, as opposed to lecturing him. So historically, the Democratic Party has always tried to use black men as the one to control the black community, but that's not the case.
No, it's not. It's not.
I think
Go ahead, Tommy.
I think as bad of a job as the Democrats do, as far as shit, I damn near want to say making sense half the time. I think the Republicans equally do a worse job making it look presentable, or making it look fashionable to even deal with them. And I think that if you aren't cognizant of that, I think you kind of being disingenuous, because I've heard even recently some of the comments of like Republicans sitting in office that have made comments that sounded like we was in 1950 something. I'm going, wait, this cool? And I think it's stuff like that that pushes a lot of people away. Now, whether people want to say that, that's your emotion or whatever, if you're actively trying to come after a base, um, I don't think they're the best at marketing in their party towards us. And to be honest with you, I think until recently, I don't think they really gave two fucks about whether we voted for him or not. And it shows. Like, I mean, I have friends. One of my best friends, he passed during COVID, but he was an older white gentleman that was in his 50s. Nobody would ever thought we was friends. He was a hardcore Republican, and they were trying their best to make me, go towards the right. I had the same stance that I have now. I don't pick either side. I think both sides are bullshit. I think it's left ring, white ring, same bird. So for me, I just think the way that they market towards us, even just knowing this, like when I had conversations with him about it, I don't even think they understand how naturally conservative black people are a lot of times when you talk to them. Like I remember having a conversation with him, and he was explaining to me, like, the values of Republicans, and I'm looking at him like, you literally just described a black person, with the religion, with the taxes, etc. He just kind of broke it down for me. But I think a lot of them don't even understand that that's a lot of the values that a lot of black people stand on or whatever. I don't know what happened with the Democrats kind of uh being able to dominate our vote, but I think the Republicans played a hand in it. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Um Arizona fighting Martin Luther King Day. Like, how do you think that's gonna make people look at them? Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like simple stuff like that. It just scratches your head. And I'm not saying like that's an end all be all, oh my God. But if you as a black person don't look at something like that and go, wow, then I kind of look at you a little bit weird. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Look,
somebody I don't know who would hate that guy or who would have a problem with that guy. You know what
Tommy,
I'm saying?
let me give you this one. No tit for tat because you're right. I thought that was unusual. But
Yeah.
did you know? And maybe you do because it sounds like you're up on things. But did
Mhm.
you know it was a Republican that got the Senate to pass the Civil Rights Bill?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it was a Republican who had to break the filibuster for that.
yeah.
So we can go back and forth. But the other thing you said that was when you were talking to the white dude and he
Mhm.
described things that black people are kind of conservative on the inside.
Mhm.
What we really need to do is hear more black people say that.
Mhm.
We can't wait for somebody else to do it because I agree with you. I have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of working for the government in a research facility. Almost all
Mhm.
my acquaintances were white because we
Yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
that many blacks out there. We used to go to lunch and have a beer and have these political discussions.
yeah.
And so the truth of the matter is, they learn a little bit more about me because I've always been a little bit more conservative. I told you what I don't like about the Democrats, but
Yeah.
I never really was that mindful of it until recently.
Mhm.
That's why when my video came out in 2023, I voted for Hillary Clinton. God dang it, that's
Yeah.
really just 9 years ago. So my revelations have come late. I was 57 when I voted for her. I didn't vote for any president when on 2020. I voted Democrat, but I left that blank. I
Mhm.
didn't vote for Trump because I still had that kind of mindset. And then I couldn't vote for Biden because he's more racist than Trump ever was. And a lot of people keep skipping over the shit that he's done to
Yeah.
us blacks. I can't,
Yeah.
so you're right. So we could go both ways with this,
Yeah.
but in the end, I still say my basic thing, well, I have this chart up, I'm gonna take it down, is there's something fundamental in our heads that keep us voting for Democrats.
Yeah.
And it ain't all good. It's
Mhm.
not good when everybody else can see the distinction between parties. The parties do know they have to compete for their votes.
Mhm.
So the Democrats know they don't have to compete for their votes. They think that I think they know it now, but if they they take it for granted, and the Republicans didn't do anything for us because they didn't have to. They were when they won the elections, they won without us.
Yeah.
You know, so when you win without somebody, why I gotta do some shit for you? You
No,
never
but
voted.
and I think that's kind of my point, Arpain, is because they went so long without us.
But that's not their fault. That's our
No,
fault.
no, no, I agree. But what I'm saying
Okay?
is they never even so what I'm saying is like when incidents occur, like what I said earlier, they
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck. It would oh well, you know, and so I think that turns a lot of people off. Look,
Well,
I'm not making a case
no,
that this side is more racist than the other. They both are.
they're
Like I'm
both
not a
equal for
I'm not
you.
I'm not a dodo and gonna say, oh, I think this side or the other side. I don't like again, I'm not one of these people that think one side cares about us more than the other.
No, I'm hearing you on that one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll let you go after this. I want to say
Okay.
one thing to you. I saw the change in when they put my girl up there, Amber Rose, in a Republican convention with a tattoo on her forehead, and she gave a speech. I thought that was a turning point for them trying to reach and open their tent up. Because in the previous convention, she wouldn't even have been able to get let in. And when
Okay.
when she got up there and started talking, whether you agree with her or not, whether she's racially ambiguous or not, that was a change for them. And I think it resonated. I think it resonated bigger than people think. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
I agree with you. Here's my problem with that, Arpain. Had the
Go ahead.
Democrats used the exact same person, you would have criticized them because of her past.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes,
No, I
you would.
wouldn't. No, I
Arpain,
wouldn't.
do
You
you know
can't.
her
You
past?
can't.
No. Let's stop
No,
right
I
there.
do
Do you
know
know her
that.
past?
Democrats had Meg the Stallion,
Yeah.
Gorilla, and all
And guess
Cardi
what?
B.
And guess what? And they were maligned for that.
Oh man, hold on for a second though. It depends on who was doing the maligning,
Come on.
right? So no, I'm serious. Listen, the point we were
Arpain.
on, the point we, no,
Motherfuckers went up here cracking up and laughing and talking about how stupid that was for them to be up there.
or Megan Thee Stallion them for what
Yeah.
they did with them. I didn't like that, but hold on for a second. We're moving the goalposts in the discussion because it
Excuse
didn't
me,
happen. Go ahead, Michelle.
but Amber Rose, she came and made a speech, a decent speech. I was even shocked.
Right.
But all Meg Thee Stallion did was shake some butt. Cardi B forgot her lines. I mean, it was, I got to give credit. Amber Rose looked composed. She looked, she made a good point. I'm not necessarily her biggest fan, but they presented her in a way that at least was presentable. And I have to give the Republicans credit for that, like the brother just said.
Okay. My point is, no matter how the Democrats would have presented her, it would. Let me give you a perfect example because I watched it happen on this network. I remember when Janet Jackson made the comment about Kamala. Oh, ha, 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 ha. So on the same channel where black men are tired of black women having fake eyelashes, you were backing a woman that got a fake face.
Oh man, yeah. Listen,
But Arpain, this in line is my issue with politics. It's I'm good. Whatever I feel, if you say what I like, I'll drop. Even in your video, I don't necessarily agree with Tariq on anything. Oh, but hold on, he said something I agree with. So let me use him now. And that's what this culture is. It's cut and click. It's let me find something that's going to say what I want to say and use it. No matter how I feel about that person, no matter the history, yada yada yada. Let me use it right quick to further push what I want to push instead of it being on its mirror. If you have a fundamental issue with Tariq, then you shouldn't use him for anything.
No, that's not true. First of all, no, that's really not true. Okay. If I have a fundamental issue with a man cheating on his wife, then I shouldn't like Martin Luther King. That's what you're saying. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think people could be more than, people have more layers to them than just a one or a zero. I mean, if we lived in a one or a zero area, nobody would like anybody. So Tariq Nasheed, I'm not a big fan of his, but I don't really follow him. I just said, for me personally, I don't really follow him, but I was surprised that he felt the way he felt about Jasmine Crockett, right? So I could purposely tell you, I look for people who may have other planks and other things, but when they start saying shit that I can hear, that means this person ain't all wrong. And if they agree with me, I said, well, you know what? That's somebody else. He thinks my way, but that doesn't mean they can't think differently in other areas. That's fine for me. I hear what you're saying, but I think I wouldn't turn people off just because of that. The Janet Jackson thing. I don't like the fact that she messed her whole face up and did what she did, and and all that kind of stuff. But but I think she had a right to be mad at Kamala Harris just because she fucked up her nose doesn't take away that right.
No, I didn't say she didn't have the right to be mad.
Yeah, well, so from that standpoint, if somebody agrees with Janet, it's not because she
No, but
mutilated herself. Or
what I'm saying is, okay, the same person that because you disagree with something that they'll do, that you'll tear them down to the brinks. Because see, when you disagree with that person, you don't then look for other things to
it depends on the circumstance, Tommy. Come on.
Huh?
It depends on the circumstance. Listen, she messed up her nose for a long time,
Yeah.
but she gave a concert on HBO that I thought was one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
No, listen. No, I'm not saying that you should. Okay, my point isn't that. Okay, you don't like the way you don't agree with Janet Jackson on this and this, so you should. What I'm saying is, I think it's the way that people use them and prop them up. I think is where I kind of
I'm hearing you.
The way I kind of it comes off is icky to me. Like I just it gives me pause. I just put it like that because
No, I'm hearing you, but it's like I
Yeah.
said, it's like flip sides to that. Frank, you got anything you've been kind of quiet here. You got anything else you want to throw on this one? What's your position on that?
I was watching the one on another network today on my way to work. I was watching it was like 20 MAGA supporters versus one it was versus one Democrat. And I think that
that's the reverse. I haven't heard that one. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they did the reverse joint this time. So I think basically listening to that, I think what comes out of it is that I think that because for a long time in this and we know, and I'm not placating or like trying to like go back in history to where it's like I'm saying that we still slaves. I'm not saying nothing like that. What I'm saying is I feel like black people do feel like as much shit as we went through in this country, we want to see other people be able to like also have things. Now where I think we went wrong in a lot of that shit is our shit got overlooked by a whole bunch of things that we started to support. Like soon as we started supporting feminism, you know what I'm saying, and all of this type of stuff, like it overshadowed like civil rights, all that type of stuff. Soon as we started supporting like trans rights, gay right, like it's still overshadowed like some just fundamental progression for African Americans in this country. So I think that we have went wrong with that, but I think that we have just became too inclusive as a group. And so that's what happened. So we know, and based off of what they were saying on there today, it's more because it does not seem like the other side is empathetic to anything. Like if you think about SSI, where they're trying to cut $890 million from SSI, that affects all of us. We all gonna get old one day. Now I'm not saying that it won't change, like it can't change from this administration to the next administration. I'm just saying that that's something that affects us because we all got elderly family members, grandmas, grandpas. My grandmother's a cancer survivor and she's going through radiation again now. So like, you know what I'm saying? So I know that is something that directly affects my grandmother. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when it's just like, oh, we're just gonna cut $890 million of SSI, like I know that directly affects my gram. So that bothers me. And that may not bother other people because your grandmother or your grandfather or your mom, if she's older, may not be going through those type of issues and things like that. So you might be like, well, that ain't my problem, it's his problem, and that's cool. Like, but it just seems like from going around and listening to all of that today, that's what I got from it. It just seemed like one side of the track, and I think to too much. I think to too much is very inclusive, and I think that the other side is like, well, we're gonna get rid of all the stuff that talks about black, what black people went through in this country, but we'll still keep American history is American history, so we'll just cut y'all out. And then it's just like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna cut Social Security, don't worry about it. Like, it's just things like that. It's just like, damn, it's gonna be so many people suffering over that shit.
Frank, let me ask you a question, and maybe I don't know. Do you have anything documented that you know for sure that's where they're going to get that 800 million from? I keep hearing that being said, but what I'm saying,
it was, of course, articles was wrote about it, so you have to just check the articles out. But it says 890 million. That's what it says.
Yeah, but it didn't say they were going to cut it from Medicaid or SSI. It didn't say that. I think that's a narrative. They didn't say we're cutting 800 and something billion. That's what's in those articles. But I haven't seen anything in the written legislation that is coming out of the House that's going to go over to the Senate that says that. What it says is they're going to cut. Now, people are saying there's no way you could cut that much. Just to be on your side, there's no way you could cut that much unless you cut Medicaid, unless you cut SSI. But they didn't. But specifically written in those bills, I don't believe it's in there like that. So I think there's some discretion where that money comes from. And but the narrative in the liberal media is that's where they're going to get it from, and that's become the order of the day.
Oh, right. I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it.
Because you could be right, but I don't know. We don't know yet.
I think he almost like what I was trying to say is literally what Frank said, as far as like when I was talking about the marketing, I guess, to black people is that and again, like, because it annoys me when people sit there and try and act like motherfuckers trying to play the victim, but that's kind of what I'm saying. The empathy for what has happened in this country from that side. Now, look, if the Democrats show it to pander, I wouldn't argue with you. But what I'm saying, from the other side, it looks like it's the complete opposite. It looks like they don't give a fuck. So what? Move on, etc., etc. And I think I'm gonna be and the only reason why I say this is because I think that Democratic shit is passed down from our elders. Like, that's why I think this generation is kind of getting away from that shit. Is like, y'all not doing nothing for us, yada yada yada. But I think for people like my dad and them, they've watched these people on this side basically be like, fuck what you went through, or even damn near denied that it even happened. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was a huge turnoff for a lot of people. Again, I'm not saying that to say that the other side is better. I don't like either side.
Not arguing about those points. I'm not really, I hear what you're saying. So I don't, there's no argument back and forth. I mean, we could see the same picture and have a different interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And that's where we can't get up. Can we get to a meeting of the minds? But I do want to play something for all of us here while we're here. Tim Scott was on The View. Now, some people don't like Tim Scott, right?
I don't like him.
He was on The View.
I don't like The View.
Oh, listen. The only reason why I looked at it because he was on there, and I wanted to hear what the brother had to say. And I want to play that for you guys. It's only 3 minutes. And listen, I wasn't a big Tim Scott fan, but the brother made me proud for this conversation here.
I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on the show, that the only way for American kids,
I wanted to say, sir,
is to
they're not going to flag you for this, are they?
That is a dangerous, offensive.
Hold on for a second.
Disgusting.
What you say?
I said they're not going to flag you for this, are they?
No.
Oh, okay. I just
into our young people today that the only way to succeed is by being the exception. I will tell you that if my life is the exception, I can't imagine. I can't.
But it is.
But it's not actually. It's been
here's 114 years.
Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, we've had an African American president, African American vice president. We've had 2 African Americans to be secretaries of the state. In my home city, the police chief is an African American who's now running for mayor. The head of the highway patrol for South Carolina is an African American.
Still
in
exceptions.
In 1975, there was about 15% employment in the African American community. For the first time in the history of the country, it's under 5%.
40% homelessness.
And 50%
of African Americans
50% of the folks in our community
get 13% of the
You had the
population.
chance to ask the question. I know that I've watched you on the show that you like people to be deferential and respectful, so I'm going to do the
That
same
is
thing.
true.
So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest the fact of the matter is that progress in America is palpable. It can be measured in generations. I look back at the fact that my grandfather, born in 1921 in Sally, South Carolina, when he was on a sidewalk, a white person was coming, he had to step off and not make eye contact. That man believed then, with some doubt now, in the goodness of America, because he believed that having faith in God, faith in himself, and faith in what the future could hold for his kids would unleash opportunities in ways that you cannot imagine. Every kid today can look, just change the stations and see how much progress has been made in this country. ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN, CNN, Fox News all have African American and Hispanic hosts. So what I'm suggesting is that the yesterday's exception is today's rule. And for us to
So
suggest—
America has met its promise.
No, of course, the concept of America is that we are going to become a more perfect union. But in fact, the challenges that we face 50 years ago and 60 years ago should not be the same challenges that we face today. And here's the way that you measure that. When my mother was born, about 10% of African Americans got a high school degree, diploma. Today, it's over 90%. When you look at the income, success that we've had—
HBCU stat.
Well, listen, HBCU stat is a good one, because one of the reasons why I took the funding for HBCUs to the highest level in the history of the country, and then I helped make it permanent, is because I believe that education is the closest thing to magic in America. So I'm about making sure that our kids have as many opportunities to succeed as possible. It's one of the reasons why—
I need an opportunity to succeed because I have to go to break. They're
We have more
begging.
time, though.
They're begging.
We stop it there, okay?
And he made a good point. He made some valid points. I'll respect him for that in that segment. And I don't like Miss, what's her name, Houston lady. Yeah, she's too yappy for me. She's annoying to me. Because you also, because I work in human resources, we also have to respect the progress we've made as a people, okay, and not minimize it. Yes, we do have a lot of obstacles to overcome, but we still have made a lot of progress.
Listen, my whole thing is, and one of the reasons why. My position is I had like four episodes of black folks post DEI America. One of the things I really don't like is for us to think that all our achievements are based on some goddamn program. You know, so when like you were saying, Tommy, Tim Scott, I never quoted him anywhere. But when I saw that video, I said, man, this is exactly what I think. That if we measure our progress, even in the light of all the shit that's against us, we ain't in the same position we were 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And it's not all because anybody gave us stuff. If you talk about black people advancing through Jim Crow, when we definitely didn't have nobody giving shit about us, how did we become so strong as a community? Because we had our own grit. You know, so I just think we need to get back to that. And I thought Tim Scott was pretty good. So I don't know what you got to say about what you got anything about. I mean, he's a Republican. That's the first time I ever quoted him on anything.
I just want to make this. The last governor for California, I voted for the Republican. Like I don't have a problem with Republicans. I have a problem with individual people. The only problem that I had with what he said was you use the president. That's an exception for everybody, black, white, or anybody. So to use that as an example, I get what he was saying, that we've reached that pinnacle. But for a white person, that's an exception. Like it's only been 40 something people on earth that's ever held that position. That's a super exception. So, but I won't deny the progress 100%. I 100% agree with him. It's actually what I argue with people in my generation, older generations, when they act like the newer generation ain't nothing but twerking and foolishness. And I'm like, we can show you in so many categories how it's even been better. The country has never been safer. New York had 5 or 6 days with 0 shooting. It was the first time since like 1950 something. But again, we as a people promote our bottom as if it's our worst. They just had a shootout in Daytona Beach. It was white bikers. You heard about it, R-Pain?
No, I didn't.
Exactly, because white people ain't out here going, we gotta do better. Because that's their fucking bottom.
Yeah,
And that's where I
I
get
get it.
irritated is I think we as a people are in a better place, and the numbers show it altogether overall. But even us, we promote this bottom as if it's our regular, and that's also an exception. And
Well,
that's what's so
Well,
irritating when I have
Mr.
some of these
Tommy,
discussions.
Mr. Tommy can also. I also feel there's efforts made to promote certain things, aspects about us as Black people that's historical and has been magnified through the music industry and media. And I think I don't know, Brother Payne our Payne can have a topic on that because there's concerted efforts to make sure that certain elements are put in us through our music, through TV, through our communication. So therefore, so it feels as though that's who we are and that's what we want to be. Like what way they promote Sexy Red, for example, to these young girls. When I was coming up, there was Brandy, there was a plethora of young girls. But now, why is Sexy Red only in the main one and all sorts of, we used to have a plethora of boys group, girls group. But now, I see
No,
everything so
don't
concerted.
don't do that because you still got her that's from out here that
Her
dresses like
with her is 10 years older. I'm talking about her. 60 Red is being promoted to the next 12, 13-year-old girl right now.
you said
Her
her
was
is
10
10
years
years
ago.
older.
Her
You
is
talking about her
older
as a
now.
singer.
Yes.
I like her.
Her is
But
still in her 20s.
She's nice, but she's not
no,
coming for the 12,
yeah,
13-year-olds now.
but hold on for a second. But Tommy, we gotta. You're not wrong, but I think your ire is pointed in the wrong direction. It's not what we promote. It's what's been promoted and we accept. I think that what you just said is more attributed to what the liberal media says our communities are like, not the conservative media. So the fact is that all media underplays white Appalachia. All media.
Mm-hmm.
A Democrat, they don't show white poverty,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're quick to show Black poverty on anywhere. So I think
No, I think that's America though. I mean, like when we
that's
grew
America.
up, we thought all Africa was dirt roads and shit. And then
Yeah,
we get
that's what I'm
older and find out they got nice beaches, they got resorts, etc., etc.
Yeah, so
That's how they promote. So yeah, I get that. I get the propaganda machine. But what I'm saying is, again, I agree with what she said 100%. Absolutely, there's a concerted effort to push that out
yeah,
100%.
and who owns those companies though? We play a part of it. But the other
Yeah,
thing
absolutely.
is, let me tell you that New York. I'm from New York. To have any
Mhm.
time period where ain't nobody getting shot, that's the exception.
Oh no. But what I'm saying is, no, you're right. It's an exception. But what I'm saying is, for it to happen in this time, when I hear older generations acting like this is the worst time ever, and oh my God, these kids are out of control, and this was the first time this has happened since the 50s, not the 60s, not the 70s, not the 80s, not the 90s, the 50s is the last time that happened. You get what I'm saying? Like, and again, the overall numbers show that America is a safer place than past generations. The era that I grew up in was extremely more dangerous than it is right now.
You know what? I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the stats you look at. Like, but if we can get a Chicago weekend like we had in New York, that'll really be saying something.
No, for sure. But no, what I'm saying is no, and even it's not even a stat. Every stat shows that. If you want to talk about violent crimes, if you want to talk about M's, if you want to talk about like it's just what it is. But I think what happened is, and I'll just speak for like my generation, right?
Right.
When you
And you're
grow
a
up as a
millennial,
kid,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So when you grow up as a kid, and this is how I had to kind of explain it to some of the people in my generation. When you grow up as a kid, you don't pay attention to those issues as much because you're a kid. Who cares?
Right.
So what happens is when you get older and you start paying attention to it in your head, this wasn't going on when I was a kid because I never heard about it. Well, you wasn't paying attention to it. So now that you're older and you're paying attention to it, it's going, oh shit, this is worse than when we was coming up. I just happen to be the type of kid. My dad ordered the newspaper.
Mhm.
I used to go to the sports section every day. So I used to get the newspaper every day. So after I got the sports section, I would also read up on the newspaper. I knew what was going on. So for me, I knew that it was wilder when I was coming up than it is now. But we have a generation of people that, like I said, when you were kids, you generally don't pay attention to some of the issues you do
Well, that's
as an
true.
adult. So when this stuff happens as an adult, you're looking like, oh my God, these kids are paying. I'm part of the generation that started metal detectors in school. That was
Yeah.
my generation that started that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we used to have 12 gauges and shit stuffed in the bushes outside the school and shit. You know what I'm saying? So the bag they stopped us from wearing baggy pants because people would come to school with a sawed-off shotgun in their pants.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
this ain't
again,
issues that you're hearing about today. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
yeah,
So
you're right. I mean,
teen
but
pregnancy. I
yeah,
was the
that's going
generation when
down.
they started up in daycares in schools. You know what I'm saying? So I only say that to just say I personally just wish that we would do a better job pointing these things out as far as us doing better. Um and a perfect example was like the kid that just scored a 1600 on his SAT and is going to Harvard.
Okay.
Nobody's really talking about that. I'm like, why this isn't like that's stuff that I would love to see push more. And I'm probably gonna start a YouTube channel. And I'm gonna do it myself.
Well,
You
that's
know,
what
so
I'm
because that's what
saying.
I like to
The
see.
fact
But
is,
yeah,
but that's the point, right?
yeah,
You know, if it leads, it leads. I mean, that's like a
yeah,
universal
yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh,
You know,
100%. Yeah.
so I hear what you're saying, and I think we need to have more positive stuff, and that's why my man Tim Scott on The View had to correct the
Mhm.
whole panel, saying, "Listen, you're not looking at this thing the right way because." And this is the Democratic Party and the liberals. Don't forget about the party, but the liberals tend to believe that they look through a lens of victimization when it comes to black people. And I
100%. I agree.
Yes.
I think that's the
Yes.
worst. It's worse than anything else that I think of, even on a conservative side. Because if you're moving in a positive direction, you don't get the pushback from just being a conservative. Even conservative Republicans can respect people who take care of their own, right? Because you're not stepping on anybody else. You're not asking for handouts. You're not asking for any of this. I'm doing this shit on my own, and I don't need to be a victim. Go ahead, Michelle. What you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna agree, and I hope Tommy B is able to, do his channel and let us know so we can support because we need like minds out here.
Mhm.
Because a lot of things are happening out here, and we need to discuss this. And I appreciate your forum for us having this discussion, and I appreciate your forum for not going around the victimhood with our problems, but trying to find solutions to our problems because we still have a lot of solutions as opposed to other communities, especially as we move forward, especially with this new president. And again, I'm very concerned with our community because we're trying to follow the Democratic route, but I think the Democratic route is leading us to failure because, as you can see, with the State of the Union, look at Al Green making a fool of himself. Okay.
But that was bad.
But
Go
look,
ahead,
listen.
Tommy. Go ahead.
Even with that, though, I have to say, and I agree with you, but I even laugh at that. It just goes all the way back to where I started with Art Payne. Is when the Republican lady stood up in the middle of the what's up, Jedi Mike? He said we're the link. Stood up in the middle of Obama's speech and screamed liar and disrupted it. Where
Oh,
was the
I
Republicans?
thought that was a guy.
No, I believe it was a woman. It might have been a guy. I can't remember. But
No, that was Biden. For Biden, it was that beach body lady, the beach body lady. That was
no,
that was for Biden.
so they did it twice then, because I know they did it to Obama too.
Yeah, they did one for Obama, then for
So
Biden was
this
the
is
beach body lady.
so that was kind of my point with the politics are paying is like, wait a minute. So when we do it, it's justifiable. But when they do it, it's oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. Where's the decorum?
No, man, Tommy. Listen, they admonished that guy for doing that to Obama.
Oh,
he got admonished, just like
by
this
who?
guy. Afterwards, he got admonished by that.
No. By who though?
Well, I don't. The media, everybody, the Congress didn't like what he did either. Now they had to listen. Just standing up, the guy didn't just stand up. He kept disrupting. That's why they had to kick him out.
Yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah.
That's the problem. He got censored. He wanted them to kick him out, so he wasn't just making it. He wanted to get kicked out.
Yeah. No, I agree. And again, I think both is goofy. But I'm just saying.
No, they're both goofy. No, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but again, like my
What's
thing
up,
is
Jedi Mike? What's going on, man?
Jedi Mike. What's going on, my guy?
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
All right. So, yes, and we got one on when I'm breaking the rules for Michelle here. You know see how women break the rules? I'm a simp. Tell me simping over here, man.
What they say, our pain stop simping.
I don't know, man. What you got? If you finish, Tommy, what you got, Jedi Mike? How much have you seen? What you got?
I see seen everything. I'm in Washington D.C., but just right around the corner. And I'll tell you this is that that is frustrating. That my people that not just literacy, but more importantly competence is something that is hard to come by when we're just having conversations and holding ourselves accountable and addressing what we see as clear as day. As someone that doesn't identify, neither say Democrat or Republican, however, I do identify as a Christian and stuff, and how I raised, my family. Also, being in marriage with my wife is like we're in a Christian household. Those principles that's our foundation, always have and always will be. I think it's a shame that it's become a circus at this point. Even when it came to the State of Union address, I literally could not watch it because I saw the clips of it. I saw the young man, who survived brain cancer, and how seeing the whole crowd did not stand for them. And this is my thing where it's just like, listen, I understand people he's a plant. He's just there for political stunt. I'm like, so this young child that survived brain cancer actually want to serve this country and actually to protect the community, who went on a viral video while our own people, no white person, our own people was making fun of this kid, and not only the fact that he survived brain cancer, you want to get into a field that doesn't really have a lot of us, kinfolk, whatever you want to call it, in those fields, but then at the same time saying that he's a political plant that just used for propaganda. But yet, was Beyonce not political propaganda when you guys at Democratic convention? Was Cardi B, was Meg Thee Stallion, and all these other actors, Jennifer Lopez, Selena Gomez crying, and when she has $1 million necklace at the Oscars? I'm an entertainment journalist or a film critic. I see all this stuff going on for here, and I'm like, you mean tell me those are not it's equivalent, if not more, because these people have influence and power, and yet you're complaining that Elon and all the Jeff Bezos and all these people just have power and everything. Like, this is business, and yet you lost, and you continually have this political stunt here is going to thank you, sweetheart. This is going to basically keep the Republican Party for the next 8 years if you keep this up, because you have now told that the general public that the Democratic Party is now become a bunch of bitch ass niggas. And that's what Dave Chappelle was talking about. It's like, we have now grown a society of people. Thank you. I got it. Got the camera. Thank you. Sorry, that's Tamika. No. She brought me dinner. And
there you go.
Being here. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I just think that to me, especially someone who's young, like about to approach your 30s, can you believe it? It's like
congratulations.
I just don't. I wish that just in terms of my generation that we can hopefully, as Trump was talking about, being the age of common sense, and not whether you didn't vote for him, you at least can agree we need to move into an age of common sense, because that's completely lacking. But yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right, so
think
this,
that
before you go ahead, go ahead, Tommy. But I'm gonna bring up another video. But go ahead, Tommy. Say what you gotta say.
no, I think to be honest with you, Jedi, I started off the show saying it's both sides. Like, and I think that's the problem is it's literally become that childish where, like you said, you have a kid up there with brain cancer and you don't stand. And whether they were using it, as a political piece, it's just decorum. And I think that's the most important thing we've lost to both
Exactly.
sides. It's just
Decorum.
basic decorum. And so that's why I started off when I said the Republicans were so outraged that the Democrats didn't care about, the A attempt on Trump. But I said, but you guys were the same ones that was making memes and jokes about Pelosi's husband. And I understand people saying, oh, he's not a foreign. I don't care. A life is a life. That was a serious situation.
Yes.
And people laughed at it, but then became sensitive when the other side laughed when it was your side. And that's literally what this come to is kindergartner, hand. When it's like if my kids behave the way that these people are behaving, they'd be in trouble. That's how ridiculous it is.
Tommy, you know what? You're right. That's why there's no wrong thing. The really issue is that we can't get to the fidelity because it might not be the same people, right? There could have been people on both sides outraged by both incidents, right? But those are not the people who got the voice. The people who get the voice in the media is what leads, right? So if somebody happy about Pelosi's husband, they're not going to talk about the ones who were against it, right? I mean, I thought it was terrible anyway, especially how, I thought it was really bad that the cops came there and were there and they were so slow they couldn't stop him from bashing my man's head in. They came to the door. What happened? Well, so
Yeah.
you're right. You're absolutely right. So there's some people who are consistent on both, but they don't get airtime. But anyhow, I want to play this one, another one. I want to play this lady. And anytime I could get a black woman who says, mentions some sense, I got to play her for a little bit,
I wonder why
Thank you.
Black people are the only demographic that votes 90% for the Democratic Party for the last 70 plus years and still haven't been able to achieve the things that they need to achieve in terms of their neighborhood schools, especially in heavily Democratic areas like DC, Chicago, Detroit, heavily Democratic areas that have the lowest economic opportunities. The education system is crap. Neighborhoods are impoverished. And yet we still continue to vote 90% more very faithfully for the last 70 years for the Democratic Party and not get anything out of it. No other demographic is doing this. Not Hispanics, no one. We are. At some point, you got to connect the dots. You see, there is no leverage in voting for the same party every election year after year after year. There's no leverage. It gets to the point where the Democratic Party doesn't even have to put anything on the table to get your vote. And they're always dangling reparations as a carrot. In spite of the fact that at some point they've had control of the executive branch, the legislative branch, everything, and still not able to get reparations passed. Ask yourself, why? Why? When they were able to control all levels of government, still can't put reparations in and pass it. You either know the game or you don't. You either know how to play the game or you don't. You either know how to discern when you're being played or you don't. The fact of the matter is there'll never be a reparations bill, partly because the issue in and of itself is the game plan for the Democratic Party. It is a perpetual issue, and they want to keep it a perpetual issue to get into office. This is among other things that they do to dangle ridiculous things like DEI. And yet, most Black people aren't even benefiting from that. DEI is really benefiting every other so-called marginalized group except Black people.
All right, so let me stop it there, okay? So the truth of the matter is, again, we know, right? I mean, this is the kind of things I think we already know, right? And one of the problems is that is more and more people saying this stuff, Tommy, and it's good to see it across the board. Men are saying it, women are saying it, and I think it's more important that we start hearing Black women say it. Black women say, listen, you know what? It's time for us to think a little bit differently. Because I really believe that the hold that the Democrats have on the Black woman is different than the hold they have on Black men. It's the women of the Democratic Party, the women who have the hold on the men who are keeping us there, right? Because in our community, we're bred to be matriarchal for the most part, especially in the last 50, 60 years, right? When the men were out of the house, whether it's because of the legislation, whether it's because of crack epidemic, maybe it's because of the crime bill, women have been raising men, right? So we are used to, and too used to, and I say we, I mean y'all, because I'm from the old school and shit, right? But I understand I'm being universal here. Right? Men are used to acquiescing to their women. And I think that's mostly in our community than anywhere else. So if all the women are on a Democratic plantation, enough of the men are on there too. And I think that a lot of the men are starting to say, wait a minute, you know, maybe this is a little bit upside down. Maybe it's a little bit upside down. I think we're starting to see that. I really do. And I think once we see it more, I think we can, whatever's left for the community, I think we could be rebuilding it better. Because I'll say it right now, if people call me a chauvinist, I believe men should lead women. I don't believe in the other way around.
So let me ask you two questions. Number one,
right.
Of all your years, do you know anybody that's voted based on the promise of fucking reparations?
I don't know. I think some people have. Yeah, I do.
No, I'm asking, do you personally know?
No, I don't know anybody because people know, but I don't talk about that shit. I don't believe in it. Go ahead.
No, I think that'd be a conversation piece. I think if somebody was literally basing their vote off of reparations, I think somebody be open about it and be talking about how they're going to get this check. I don't know anybody on earth, and it's my singular experience, that has placed a vote based off of a promise of reparations. And to be honest with you, that's only really been pushed the last couple of years. When I was growing up, there was no promise of no fucking reparations ever.
No, Tommy, wait a minute, man. That whole specter of 40 acres and a mule has been around for a long time.
Okay.
But
that was an actual promise that wasn't given.
That's right.
But what I'm saying is, nobody was ever running for campaign and goes, hey, remember that 40 acres and a mule? I can get that for you. You get what I'm saying?
They tried to under Obama. They tried to raise the issue under Obama, but guess what? Al Sharpton shut it down.
That's my point. Is what I'm saying is, she said we've been doing this for 80 years or whatever, right? Only recently have I even heard about possible reparations. So even that alone is disingenuous to say it's because of the promise of reparations. There has been no promise of it. You get what I'm saying? So I just want to point that out.
He didn't say promises. They dangle it. It's a dangling. It's dangling carrot.
Arpain, look, you're older than me, so maybe you can correct me. I don't remember it being dangled.
No, well, let me tell you this. They dangle a lot of stuff, right? But the reason why the Democrat, it might be more recent in the news because it's different cycles now because we got news all the time. But the truth of the matter is the promise of the potential of reparations, most Black people knew they wouldn't get nothing from the Republicans. It was always on the floor from the Democrats. If they were going to ever get reparations, you would have to vote Democrat. Now, whether they hold on, let me finish. Whether they make it a primary plank or not, I agree with you. Nobody leads with that. But in recent times, meaning from the Obama administration up, if you're thinking about it, more and more people are talking about it. I did a live here. They did
no. That's why I said recently, Arpain. You're correct. That's why I said recently. Obama, that's when you started hearing about it. Before that, I think it was inferred that if it was going to happen, it'd be the Democrats. Because again, going back to it, Republicans have never shown empathy for what the fuck we went through. It's
So-
always been that pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but
Right.
never even explain to the fact that why our bootstraps are even unloosened. But my second question to be is,
Yeah.
again, you're older than me, so you got a lot more experience. What man do you know is voting based off of what a broad is telling them to do?
Oh,
I don't
man,
know any.
Stop it, man. Stop it. It's whether
No, I'm asking you because I'm saying from my point of view, I
Yeah.
don't know any man that said I'm going to
Yeah.
that booth and
How
I'm making
many
this vote based
Boy,
off what my female is saying.
You know what? If you and I were sitting around and we had a brother sitting around, none of us are gonna admit that we're being bitch slapped by women. We won't admit that shit out loud, right? Some men stay out in their car and don't, and are afraid to go in the house. Women they put influences on their men in all kinds of ways. You can't just say just because black and white help me vote. If most men, if 90% of the black women who, and whatever percentage of them who are married, you don't think they influence their husbands one way or the
All
other?
right, so let me ask the lady on the panel.
Yes, yes,
Have you ever
they do
heard
it. They
any
do
of
it.
your girls?
It happens all the time, more than you know.
So you have
More than you know.
girlfriends that pressure their mates into voting a certain way?
I wouldn't say pressure, but they convince them heavily, and their sons and their brothers. Hey, you need to vote for
if you
Kamala.
say convince, I could do it because the way that it's coming off is as if almost like they damn near ultimatum type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Influence. Let's use the word influence, whether it's a hard influence or just an word. Let's just go with influence as the word. The whole spectrum of it.
Because when you go into the voting booth, nobody sees what you're doing.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So all I'm trying to say is, even with reparations, going back to that, even if it was a possibility that one party would get it that way, even if it was just inferred, it might be enough for somebody to vote for that. Now, it might not be the only thing. A lot of us are not one issue voters, but the whole thing of one issue voters is true. There was women who would vote against their best interests because they want abortion. They want abortion.
No, absolutely.
So there are one issue voters. There are. And no matter
I just think I don't think there's been enough of a promise to give a person that, like you said, was a one person voter to do that. I think the Democratic hold.
I agree with you.
I think the Democratic hold has literally been like what I explained. I think it's just a lot. Whether people like it or not, I think a lot of it's been based off of the lack of empathy from the other side. The basic, this has happened in this country, but we don't care. Get over it. And that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Again, whether you like it or not, I think that turns a lot of people off. When when we know the history of this country, and you basically look at it and go, do better.
And then another issue with the Republican Party, they're against Black history.
That's what I'm
Having
saying.
conversation about Black history, the
no
Black
empathy.
experience.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but then on the other side, the Democrats want to fill our cities with immigrants, which also marginalize us.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
who's really helping us? Who's really in our interests? Because here in DC, they quietly brought in immigrants into DC. It wasn't as prominent as like New York or Chicago, but they brought them here to DC. They're here.
Yeah. Again, I'm not making a case for either side. I'm because a part of this has been asking why are Black people so loyal to this side, and I think a lot of it isn't necessarily that they like this side. It's the fact that when you look at that side, some of the shit that they kind of stand on or say, it's wild shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's I could give a fuck what your grandma went through. It's like, dog, what do you and almost has said as much.
Well, hold on for a second. I mean, there's a little hyperbole there. You're right, but one of the things that I think
Arpain, don't make me go pull up the clip. Because this one dude, I literally on the Republican National Convention said he wasn't at the actual. He was on the outside doing the news thing, but he was a sitting member, I think, of Congress, and he basically said that white people are the only ones that built this country. Like, and this is what he said.
Okay, and I'm not
wild shit.
I'm not disputing that, Tommy. I'm saying you know, we can't extrapolate one individual and make everybody that think the same way. Everybody didn't say that. He said that. But the point really is, a greater issue is that part of my whole stick is, why are we worrying about what white people think about history? We're supposed to be teaching our own history. Jewish people don't worry about what they teach in schools. They teach,
but they have the infrastructure for it. They have the centers. They have
but there's no but, right? They built the infrastructure for it. They built the infrastructure for it.
Arpain, we did too. It was destroyed.
No, hold on, but that doesn't mean it can't be built again, right? We can't keep going back to Zaddy and asking him to do shit to make us feel good. I think those days are over. Okay.
Remember, we had very recently we had the TikTok Hillman, and now they're suing each other. I mean, some crazy.
Arpain, I 100% get what you're saying. The part that frustrates me with that point of view is it feels like you're dismissing the part that we had to start all over to build it again.
No, I'm not just. I'm just saying there's nothing we could do about that now.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, when you're having those type of conversations, and this other side has literally that, because you're not saying that, right? But that's what that side will say. And that's kind of what I'm trying to explain. Like, what turns a lot of people off from that is that is their view.
Yeah. Okay. So, listen, I understand that there's a way to say things that could make people feel better or whatever. I could start a conversation about, you know what, we had this, we when we were segregated from everybody else, we had to teach ourselves that. We had to build out, we had a whole bunch of communities that were destroyed, all that kind of good stuff, which I remember. I'm just thinking, I'm the old guy, right? I can already tell young people that we can only keep, I'm not saying don't look in the rear view mirror. I'm just saying that we can't go forward only looking in the rear view mirror. Right? At some point, we got to know that what's in the rear view is there, but it can't take over what's in the front of us. And so some things we can go back and change, but most things you just absolutely can't. And I think a lot of times our conversations dwell too much on what has gone in the past. I just think it does. And I know it informs some of the future, but we have the opportunity, you guys have the opportunity to make changes based on how you see yourselves going forward, knowing what happened in the past, so you don't make those mistakes and keep yourself vulnerable to those kind of attacks anymore. And that's all I'm saying. And one of the things, so that's all I'm saying. And I know it sounds insensitive, but that's not where I'm coming from. Because if it takes me 25 minutes to make sure everybody understands how I feel about the past, in order for me to talk 5 minutes about the future, I think I'm tired of doing that. I was born.
I agree with you. But understand this, because this is the biggest part about it too, right? A lot of this stuff that we're talking about now that happened is recently coming out. This isn't stuff that was openly known. Like, Tulsa was literally buried. The black people didn't talk about it, and the white people didn't talk about it. My dad grew up never even knowing about it. I taught my dad about that shit.
Yeah.
Because he ain't know nothing about it. So, but this is my point, is you gotta know that past so you know what happened. So when you're going towards the future, you know what to look for. And so I think that's the part that kind of gets frustrating when we have these conversations is I'm not trying to get stuck in the past. It's trying to acknowledge it and teach it, so when this new generation goes to do it again, they know what to look for.
So here's my thing though, right? The Tulsa thing was lost on a lot of people, and you said it, that even black people wasn't telling it, right? But we know that certainly white people would lead with the fact that they destroyed black communities, buried them under wells, and flooded them out. They're not going to ever say that. So, but nothing stopped black people from passing it down, word of mouth, written documents, and all that. When my daughters were born, I went out and bought a lot of stuff about black history and stuff like that, and they showed them tapes and all that kind of stuff. I just did it, regardless of what they. And I'm an old fart, right? Regardless of what was taught in school, I want them to be proud of themselves, right? And you know,
Thank you for building. I appreciate you. Self-esteem is so important, especially when you send your kids to school.
you
It's
know,
not
because
about hating anybody. It's about making sure they're fulfilled within. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate parents who, especially parents who of Black children, to support their children's self-esteem. It's not about hating your body, but I need your self-esteem to be good so you can learn and observe the information, because you are going to be around different cultures. I just want you to feel confident when you're in school and around people and go through life.
so the message really is, Tommy, that I'm gonna let you go back, Michelle. One message I'm gonna land it here is that regardless of what they're doing with the educational system, maybe the what we tell the young guys, the young people looking for having families, don't rely on the system to teach your history. Go get it. Spend that time to teach it yourself, whether they teach it in school or not. Here's what we have to do going forward. And that means that since you're self-teaching them that, they don't have to spend the time because they got the knowledge because you gave it to them. And you don't have to relay it on the system. But go ahead, Michelle. I know I cut you off. You have some more.
Oh no, I'm about to step off too, but thank you. This was a good show. When are you coming back on again?
Every Monday at 7 o'clock, I'm here.
All right.
But here's the thing: I got these pictures up here, and this is going to be real quick. I don't want no video on this one. This is these are the mayors and AOC. They're on the hairy edge of committing a federal crime, and I believe, they all got referred to the DOJ for their protection of the illegal immigrants. Now we know that Eric Adams got off the hook by changing his mind. And the reason why he's still there, because I don't give a shit what he says. There was some quid pro quo going on. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Come on. We ain't boo-boo the fool. So even though they can't prove it, he had made some shady deals. He might not get out of it. He's probably not going to get reelected as mayor, but he's probably going to stay out of jail. But he's doing the right thing now, but he gets smacked for doing the wrong thing in the beginning. So all of these mayors have let their people down, except and the Congresswoman AOC. She did a seminar that was aiding in the it was right on the hairy edge of being criminal, right on the hairy edge. And I think I think she's worrying about being under investigation, because I've seen a video clip of her asking she went to the DOJ trying to find out if they're investigating her. They may not tell her. They may not tell her. So I think more fireworks to come. So with that, Tommy, you got some last, Michelle, you got any last words before you go?
I'll catch you next week, 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for a good topic.
You should listen on if you go, because I do have a theme song for this whole live that I'm gonna play after Tommy. That's my whole new thing. I got this AI generator for some words, and I think the words of this song is absolutely fantastic. Even though I have to say I actually manipulated some of them myself, and I think it's really good. So if anything, on stay and listen to more. Tommy, what's your last?
Oh no, it was a good show. I enjoyed the conversation.
Coming up, man. First of all, I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, no problem. I'll probably catch you next week, or shoot, probably Friday, because I got the barbershop Friday.
Yeah, we got the barbershop. Well, tomorrow we have we have the flipping tables.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the barbershop is on Friday, and there's the sports show is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
When are you going to do a lady show? You gotta have a lady show. You gotta have a show for the ladies.
Well, let me tell you, we had a lady show. It kind of fell apart. But if we get some ladies, but if you want to be a part of a lady show, you'd have to get on camera, and maybe you have.
Okay, I will. I'll make sure I'm straight. I'll make sure I'm straight and get on, just so to support.
You got it. Anyway, listen, I appreciate you guys coming up. So that's the last thing that I really have to say, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this my last little bit of. And if I can find it, it's up here somewhere. If I can't find it, I have to get it. Anyway, the song that I had for you guys, I gotta find it. Anyway, but I will. Just bear with me. And we'll take it from there. Anyway, it's gonna take me a minute. And I don't know why I didn't have it loaded, but I did. I lost it when I had to go down. right, here it goes. Let me get off of that.
In the shadow of the oak trees, where the too many lives lost their shine, our hands are callous, our hearts are heavy, so many dreams lost in time. Fields stretch out like a memory, whispers blown in the breeze, yearning for a place where we can finally breathe. We are trapped on the plantation, bound by mental chains that leave us drained, but there's a fire inside of us. We will rise again. With our voices, we'll break the silence. With our hearts, we'll find our way through the shackled darkness of our past to a brighter, free, thinking modern day. Underneath the midnight sky, stars begin to glow. We gather round in secret, sharing tales of hope. New words of freedom echo boldly, energizing our souls. We'll march to the rhythm of a true dream that makes us whole. We are trapped on the plantation, bound by mental chains that leave us strained, but there's a fire inside of us. We will rise again. With our voices, we'll break the silence. With our hearts, we'll find our way through the shackled darkness of our past to a brighter, free, thinking modern day. Every heart that's been broken, every life that's been torn, is a seed of revolution in the fields where we were born. So we'll stand up together, hand in hand we will fight for the dreams of our ancestors. We must claim our birthright. We are trapped on the plantation, bound by mental chains that leave us strained, but there's a fire inside of us. We will rise again. With our voices, we'll break the silence. With our hearts, we'll find our way through the shackled darkness of our past to a brighter, free, thinking modern day. So let the winds of change come, let them hear our song. For we are breaking the mental shackles, and we will rise strong from the ashes of our history. A new dawn will appear. Trapped no more, we'll find our way off the plantation, for our freedom is here.
So those are my final words right there. I thought that was pretty good. I like that. If I must say so myself, that's the whole theme of our whole show today. Got to get off the plantation.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. No, I really enjoyed that. So that's your opening and closing now?
No, that's just that was just for this show. But you know,
Oh, okay.
I have that's a theme I started doing. But anyway, thanks for coming up again. Thanks, Tommy. And
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Yep. With that, I'll say
All
good
right,
night.
all right, brother Tommy B. Have a good night. Have a good night,
Hey, you
everyone.
too.
All right.